What's up, guys? We got a 2005 S2000 here for some collision damage. The plan for this car was actually to replace the front bumper. It had some pretty bad damage along the bottom here. This is the new one on each side, and it was going to take a lot more labor than it was worth to repair that other bumper, even if it could be saved. But before he could bring it to me, he had it at an Autocross event and wiped out and hit a timing tripod here on the quarter panel, the door, and the rocker. So we've got these three areas to have to repair here. I'm also going to have to strip some of this chip guard here off, recreate that, and blend it on into the rest of it. I may strip it all the way across just so I can start over with it, just so it looks right. But essentially what we're going to do here is repair that damage, paint the whole side of the car, and I'd already planned on blending the paint into the fenders and into the hood to match the bumper anyway. So what we're going to end up doing is paint the entire right side of the car, blend towards the back on the quarter. I don't really have to get into much of the quarter panel. Paint the entire hood and the top edge of this fender right here and the front. We'll end up blending halfway back and then just right up to this body line here, so that we can keep the color match here on the door. Be back in a minute with repairs on the quarter panel and the door. Alright, I got everything marked up. I went ahead and washed it, at least this side of it. Got everything marked as far as what I need to grind back and where all the paint chips are. May have to leave, probably fix that one. May have to leave this tiny chip back here just so I don't have to worry about blending into the bumper. There is a little damage right here on the bumper. He's not wanting to do that right now, but maybe some other time. Next step is to get inside the door. I'm going to try to put a spreader in there and push the door skin out as much as I possibly can from inside, and then pull the rest of it with pins out here with a stud welder. That'll be next. Alright, here's what my setup is. I've got the spreader in here inside the door. I'm going to throw an old Bondo spreader down in this corner just to protect the door frame right there. I'm going to wedge this down between the door skin and the spreader here, the Bondo spreader, and we're going to pump the handle on the hydraulic unit there and spread the skin away from the door frame. I'll set you up over here on the outside, maybe you can see what's going on. Just watch right in here. This should come on out. We can get most of it out, I think, with this. You've got to be careful not to catch the spreader along this body line. I want to push just on this dent and not damage this crease in the door skin. I can get this close and I can pull all this out with pins. It should start moving now. Slipped, just reset it. Now I'm going to reset. Okay, I think I'm in the center of it now. You can see it coming out. I'm going to go to a different spot. I've got a sharp corner pushing on that. Right there, just got that out. Go to another spot. There's not much room to get this in here. I'm going to do what I can. Save some work out there. That was the bond between the skin and the frame here at the hem flange. Just probably popped the panel bond adhesive in there. But I'll spray cavity wax inside the door and fill that back in. I'm going to reset. Only one more spot, be good. I'm going to try to get a few more pushes on it if I can, but it's probably about all I can get. Alright, here's a view on the inside again. This bracket right here is just a little bit in the way. I can't get the spreader down far enough in there to push on that right there. That's the, that right there is the crease. And that's the high spot on the outside right there. I'm just going to weld pins. Just going to weld pins along this crease and pull this out as much as I can and stay away from the body line right now. Once I get all this smooth, I might have to pull a few little spots on the body line here and get those out. And then I'll have to hammer and dolly this flat again. And this door should be fine. I gotta make sure that the gap's nice and tight here. It actually rolled the door frame in a little bit when the skin got pushed in. But it's fairly close. Okay, I'm going to show you the first pin I'm going to weld to it right in here. And I'll go ahead and put all the other ones in and show you when they're already installed. Go ahead and do one more on this side. Bend that one out of the way so I can get close to the other one. Alright, I'm going to put some along here. I'll be right back. Got all the pins on. Some of these might pull off without sticking very well, so I may have to redo some of these and add a few later once I get these cut off. That's essentially all we need. I may have to put some along the body line here after I get done straightening this part of the door out, and I may have to put a couple up here this way. Be back in a second. Okay, I got the door fairly straight. Right in here is still a little bit high. I'm going to try to heat this with a propane torch and shrink that area. So I'm getting a little oil can here. I can pop it in. It'll pop back out if I reach inside and push it out. But this is too low to leave it this way, so I'm going to try to shrink that. I've moved on to this area of the quarter. I took a marker and a straight edge and marked the body line where I need to pull. This part of the body line got impacted, so I just put some pins along there, and this part was all above it. Essentially, I'm using this stud buddy from, I believe, thought it was from Steck, but maybe not. Grab more than one at a time, usually 2 or 3. I can bend the pins together and pull these all together to spread the load out so you don't just pull one high spot each time. That seems to be working pretty well. I'm going to double check this, then cut all these pins off and maybe do some slight hammering here and there just to get it just right. But I think essentially the quarter panel is finished as far as the pulling of the sheet metal. I've got to get down here, do the same thing with the pins on this area of the rocker, and then all the straightening will be pretty much finished, except for this area right here. I'm going to try to shrink. Alright, the rocker panel is pretty much finished. I got to cut the pins off. I went through, I pulled the center out, I got that close, and then I went on either side of the center. And I was grabbing 2 pins at once and just pulling these out like this until I got the rocker panel straight. And I'm checking it as I go with this ruler. There's a slight arc. There's a slight arc in the rocker going this direction, out this way. So I'm starting the straight edge here and just measuring straight across, see if I got it flat. There's about a 1/16 gap at the most in any one spot. I may actually have to tap some of the high spots in the center down. That's not a problem. I think for the most part I've got it. I'll have to recreate this crease here. That's not a problem. Bottom looks good. Close enough that I can feel it. I don't want to pull it up too high, then I'll have high spots to knock down. Next thing is going to be to shrink this spot here. I actually ordered a shrinking tip for this. Instead of trying to use a torch, I'm just going to try to shrink it with a shrinking tip here and just heat spots at a time and then quench it with a wet rag. I'll have that in a couple days and I'll take a video of that and add to this.